Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks Best Country, 105.1 The Bull.
Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Jim's Steakhouse and Pub, Kitchenland USA, and Springfield's locally owned Fazoli's. Hey everyone, it's Joy, fresh back from the National Restaurant Show in Chicago. By the way, if I sound a little rusty, it's because I am. It was like sunny and 75 in Chicago, perfect weather. I come home to Springfield and it's rainy and it's chilly and it's not treating me well, so I'm not. I sound a little froggy, but I'm going to do the best I can. I had somebody say to me, why do you go to this show? You don't have to go to this show. And no, I don't have to go to this show. But for several years, I've been in TV news and lifestyle, and now I do this podcast about food. And there's so much more to the restaurants that we love and that we visit and that make us so happy. And I love getting to know the owners of these restaurants, but it's also really interesting to go to the show and see all of the purveyors of all the things you need for a restaurant. And I'm talking not only ingredients and recipes and products and flavors, but restaurant equipment and point of sale systems and accounting systems and forks and napkins and umbrellas and patio heaters and patio coolers and all of the things that go into making that restaurant great. And so I love to go. I've been going every year for several years, and I firmly and squarely blame Bob Noble and Kay Logston for my obsession with the National Restaurant Show. Bob Noble, of course, of Noble Communications, and Kay Logston, who was the editor of the Food Channel at the time, needed somebody to do some on-camera work at the restaurant show. And so this is going back to like 2010, 2011, something like that. So the minute I walked in the door of the McCormick Center, I was hooked. I was like, these are my people. I don't have a restaurant. I love to go to them, but I'm an inquisitive person. And I was fascinated by all of the different facets of putting together a restaurant or a bar and making it work. And the people are so much of that, anyway. So that's why I go to this show. But I wanted to give you some takeaways from the 2026 restaurant show. There's a press meeting before the show floor opens on Saturday. And I always like to go to that because you learn a lot. And here are some of the things that I learned. First and foremost, 40% of independent restaurants in this country did not make a profit last year. Yeah, 40% of independent restaurants didn't make a profit last year. Think about that. It's a lot to stay in business. There's not a lot of margin. Tip your server, it's all they can do sometimes to stay open. And the economy's iffy. There are a million reasons for it, but people are still going to eat out. So that rattled me a little bit. There were some themes here for us to take away. They talked about something they called precision ops, smarter, not smaller. So you think about, well, the payroll is pretty big, but we don't want to let anybody go. So how can we maybe make this more efficient? So there's ways to make your restaurant more efficient. You think about things like robotics and people go, oh, there go the jobs. Well, not necessarily. Robotics can automate the mundane. So the things that have to happen, maybe this sauce needs to be stirred. Maybe there is a machine that can do the stirring for you and let the chef go over here and put his or her magic touch on a dessert, for example. Or go out into the dining room and visit with the diners, find out what they love, find out why they're there, make a friend in the process, things like that. Let people better tend to customers. Okay, another one. a new labor model, how to attract and maintain those employees. This is interesting. The population of this country, and maybe the world, I'm not sure, but population numbers are flat. Teen participation in restaurants is down. The difference between births and deaths is flat. So the older folks dying off, and then the younger folks maybe not having a family like they used to. So they're trying to come up with ways to attract and maintain these workers through things like financial transparency, growing sort of a culture of moving up in the company. They talked about the importance of having a GM on site, a general manager who is there, who is present, and who's on it. And they made the point people don't leave jobs, they leave bosses, which in so many ways is really true. I've also heard it said people don't go to bars, they go to bartenders. And what that means is the people matter, the people in charge matter. And so that was one of their takeaways. Things like how to incentivize and reward employees. The battle for the food dollar, limited time offers, also known as LTOs, are a big deal in restaurants. A restaurant might do a week's worth of a certain menu item, see how it goes. They bring back a seasonal item every year, but only for a week. And they can gauge a lot about what their customers do and don't like by doing that. Beverages are the margin engine for restaurants now. New and interesting beverages are replacing alcohol since people are not drinking as much. And we're seeing all sorts of things in the beverage space. Dirty sodas are still a thing. There's sort of the different sodas with the cream added and maybe the frothy foam on the top and the different flavors. Everybody's doing refreshers. So these are like an iced drink, like an iced sort of a soda of some kind. I think McDonald's just released a line of refreshers. A lot of places like to add boba to add texture. I'm not a boba person. It's really not my thing, although they did have some dill pickle boba at the show that I thought was interesting. But these drinks, highly customizable. We learned that hot beverage sales are very flat, cold beverage sales way up. You even see beverage restaurants like Swig and HTO, places like that do really just teas or just beverages. We're also seeing a whole lot in terms of drinks without alcohol, but with THC, CBD, something called CBG that I don't even really fully understand. I was going to go back and talk to those folks, and I never did get a chance, but there's a lot going on in the beverage space. There are lots of drinks out there with a nutritional or like a wellness component. For example, Tractor, which I really like this company, Tractor. It's all organic, lovely sodas, all natural. They debuted a drink called the Haymaker, and it's an apple cider vinegar-based sparkling tonic. Really delicious, very refreshing. Comes in 4 flavors: citrus ginger, dragonberry, passion mango, and apricot peach. Low sugar, low calorie, organic. Really, really interesting. We talked about how AI works in restaurants. People a lot of times are afraid of AI, but AI can bring to the table, let's say, your systems for ordering product. Pick up on the fact that this time of the week we sell more of these dishes than that time of the week. So in other words, we don't sell as much soups and salads during this time of the year as we do sandwiches and pizzas. And in response to that, it sort of gets to know you, it gets to know your customers, and frankly, it can even make for more space in the cooler. Because what do you need all of this product for if you really, traditionally, you haven't used it all? So AI has its place for sure, and there's other ways that it works, but I thought that was really interesting. Protein is everywhere. Fiber is everywhere. I'm seeing potato chips and corn chips with added fiber, added protein. I even saw a bar mixer line that had electrolytes in it already. every now and again, and not that I would know anything about this, but if one happens to overindulge at the bar, they might go reach for like a Powerade or a Gatorade to kind of set them back on their feet again. Well, this one company decided, you know what, we'll just make electrolyte mixers, get you on your way, it'll be a little smoother landing. So I thought that was kind of cool. So those were some of the takeaways from the show. It was super fun, as always. The flavors were great, lots and lots of really cool global flavors. I was seeing a lot of sort of charred salsas and sauces that sort of have that char flavor added to it, which I'm a big fan of. I really like that. I mean, we saw everything. We even saw a sparkly maple syrup. So, you've seen those drinks that are swirled with, I think it's mica or something, swirled with the sparkling. There was actually a fabulous maple syrup that was a sparkling maple syrup. And it's just, these folks come up with the most interesting things. So that's why I like to go to the show, is to talk to some of them and bring this back to you. Okay, real quick. In the coming weeks, we are going to talk to some purveyors from our neck of the woods, Missouri and Arkansas, specifically one that I absolutely love talking to, the Date Lady. You're familiar with the Date Lady. Right here in Springfield, Missouri, the date syrup is where it all started. This was their first time at the NRA show, but they do a lot more than date syrup. And some of you probably know this. They do barbecue. They do a sweet chili. They do a chocolate that's fabulous. And all of these people are lined up in an area called Taste of the States. And all the states pretty much are represented. The departments of agriculture in these respective states oftentimes help send some of these smaller companies to the National Restaurant Show. And it's so much fun to watch this, but the Date Lady had not been there before. So I talked to them about the origin of this amazing company, the growth that's just been phenomenal, and the operation on historic Commercial Street that I bet you didn't even know was there. I didn't know it was there, and they're expanding again. It's a great conversation, so I'm going to bring you that one. We're also going to visit with some of the folks from Arkansas, our neighbors to the south, including Della Rice out of Brinkley, Arkansas. There's a heartwarming interview that I got with a farmer who bought that company. He worked for it, and then he bought it and helped save loads of jobs in a very small town in Arkansas that really, really needed to keep those jobs. Really cool conversation. I talked to Delta Dirt Distillery. This company distills spirits in the rich farmland of the Arkansas Delta. We're going to meet a guy named Thomas Williams and hear how, I believe he said it was his great-grandfather, farmed this same land starting back in the 1800s as a sharecropper, and how this family transformed it over the years, and now they make spirits from sweet potatoes. Thomas actually, interestingly, had his eye on medical school. Now he is the lead distiller for gin, vodka, bourbon, and whiskey. So we'll hear from Delta Dirt Distillery. And next to them, a company called York Pecan Company from Foreman, Arkansas. We learn all about native pecans. What does that mean? Well, we're going to find out. And we're going to talk to the folks who make these and bring them to the table all over the country, and they're just delicious. But for now, I'm going to stop talking and talk to someone else. I always look for folks from the 417 at NRA Chicago, and lo and behold, I found some. So here they are. I love running into local people. Sherry Perkins and Renee Texter are here from the table in Springfield. I'm literally standing between the North and the South Hall, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know you. Hi, ladies, are you having fun?
We're having a blast. Having a blast.
Have you been to the show before?
Oh, no, it's our first year.
It's your first year because really you're pretty much new restaurant owners, right? What do you think?
It's overwhelming, of course. There's so much to see, so much to learn. We're still new at this, even though we feel like we've been in it 10 years now, even though it's been 6 months. There's so much we know we don't know, and we're here finding out all we can find out.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for, or anything you found that kind of made you go, oh, wow?
I would say just anything new and exciting and stuff that we don't have that could be unique to us, or just stuff for the bar, stuff for the coffee, food stuff. Some equipment.
Yeah. So, now that we've been operating for 6 months and see the volume that we're doing, we realize there's some different equipment we probably should be getting. And so that's actually sounds boring, but it's really exciting to us. So
No, equipment is huge here. And you know that they have the innovation awards, the kitchen innovation, and they have those in a section. You could go look at those. Have you been to Taste of the States yet?
Not yet. We have not. We've done the international and we've done some of the equipment stuff, but we're headed there next, actually.
You guys are probably looking for more things like good solid ingredients, like you said, fixtures, maybe a new flavor profile that you've never considered.
Yeah, maybe just things that we're kind of already doing, but a better way or a different way. For instance, we just tasted I don't even know what it was called, but it was like a little flower that made a little buzz in your mouth. Super exciting.
It wasn't kava, was it?
No, we had that too. That was different for sure. It made my throat numb, but
that was very different. It's got the calming effect, but it does make your tongue numb. It's weird.
ironically, we had just got a sample of a energy drink, and then somebody gave us the kava and was like, this has extremely calming properties. That were like, an energy drink and a calming property. We're walking oxymoron right now. It was hilarious.
Something else fun we found yesterday was a bunch of NA wines, so like wines that really taste like wines with the alcohol removed. Super excited about that.
Okay, because that is a big deal, the non-alcohol, because a lot of people still love a glass of wine, but a lot of other people are like kind of trying to get away from it. You see a little bit of everything at this show.
When you're responsible for feeding a group, you want it to be simple. And, of course, you want everyone to love it. Zoli's Catering makes it easy with baked pastas, pizza, fresh salad, and our famous signature garlic breadsticks. It's a great fit for any size office lunch, meeting, family gathering, team meal, or any occasion. Find the menu and order online at fazoli's.com.
Fast, fresh, Italian, Fazoli's.
Some people check the weather, others check our soup of the day. Hi, this is Jim with Jim's Steakhouse and Pub. Our soup of the day changes, but the comfort never does. Just check with your server, because nothing takes the edge off a cold day like whatever's simmering at Jim's.
When you walk through those legendary doors, you're gonna find there's so much to love. So do yourself a favor, dig that service and flavor. Jim's Steakhouse and Pub.
Have you heard the news? Kitchenland USA in Nixa has expanded with a new 2,000 square foot addition. Now they're fully dedicated to your kitchen and bath projects from start to finish, and it's all under one roof. Stop by the new showroom to see and touch the newest sinks, tubs, walk-in showers, faucets, lighting displays, tile, and flooring, all in one showroom.
Kitchenland USA, newly expanded kitchen and bath showroom in Nixa, where your vision is our mission.
So, is there anything on your list that you're looking for or you're heading for today? Anything? Do you have a list?
Dishes, for sure. We're looking at dishes today. I think that's probably... Anything else specific?
Make a list, because if you don't, it's thundering out there. If you don't make a list, you'll forget.
Well, we are keeping good notes about things we find for sure. Being it's our first year, we're also just taking it all in. Learning. Since we're brand new open, there's not a ton that we need. We're pretty happy with where we're at, but there are a few things we are looking to just make the experience better at the table or make our operations go a little better.
What do you think about the international flavors? Have you tried some international foods?
Yeah, that was actually our first stop yesterday. We loved it, of course, and Springfield being in the center of, or nearly the center of America, the Midwest, some of the things are hard to get right now in the Midwest, but we are working there. A lot of places are working towards that, so that's exciting.
Well, you guys do such great food, and that harvest bowl of yours is just magical. You've got the healthy stuff down, I think. So, ladies, it's good to see you. I'll let you get along your merry way, and I'm glad you wore good, comfortable shoes because you need them.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's good to see you, too.
It's good to see you.
Face.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, safe travels. See you back in Springfield at the table.
Oh my gosh, these two guys I'm with right now. I'm in the North Hall at the McCormick Center. Chef Aaron Gregory and Curtis Adams of SG Seafood Service, always at the show. I want to know what you guys have found that you like, what you're looking for. How long have you been here?
We've been here since I got here Sunday, And so this is my second day. Chef Curtis has been here since Saturday. So I had a kid graduate, my son graduated, so just like everybody, jumped on a flight, made it in Saturday night.
Congrats on that. Our daughter graduated culinary school Thursday night, and I hopped on a flight early Friday morning, and here I am. What have you found that you like?
Lots of innovation. So, we went over to the Hormel booth. They had some awesome products over there, a lot of different chili paste, the Calabrian pepper, really like. We're seeing that pop up on a lot of menus. The quesadilla that they had, and he used the term one step. So taking a barbecue sauce, adding Guajillo chilies to it and a paste, and now he's got a Guajillo chili barbecue, right? So a one-step program. We're going to have those chefs that still make everything from scratch, but a lot of our operators are looking for that innovation, but they have a smaller footprint and they don't have the staff. So if they can take one thing and add it to something they already have, create a new menu item, that's what we're looking for.
That quesadilla was off the chain. It had the Mexican street corn and all of that. Unbelievable. Yeah.
It had all those flavors, right? And it's things where it works in a barbecue. It's not primarily, what we're seeing is the expansion of menus, right? It's not just for Hispanic barbecues using the elote, the street corn, the Guajillo peppers. These are all going into things that are flavorful now, or in pizzas. It's not limited to just one thing.
What are you going to talk to me, Curtis, or are you going to not talk? Okay.
You talk.
Oh, see, it's Curtis is like, I just don't want to talk to you. But you did mention, though, a second ago, something. What was it you mentioned? You mentioned a product?
Yeah, right behind us we have the J&J snacks, so the Dr. Pepper Dippin' Dots. And you think about like the nostalgia of Dippin' Dots as a kid and going to Whitewater and having Dippin' Dots, and then you got the flavors of Dr. Pepper. So it's just fun they're recreating the new, the old is the new again, which I love.
And these collaborations are really interesting. There's, the dirty sodas that I'm seeing, I'm over it. I'm that's just not my jam. Right. But it's interesting to see what people do with them. And they do sell a lot of them. But my gosh, last year, they were all over the show, and same for this year.
And if you look at all your fast foods, your quick service restaurants, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, they're all getting into that business because as the food cost prices rise, they need something to help make money, and they're able to drive that traffic, that limited time offer, those LTOs, utilizing a dirty soda, a strawberry basil lemonade, something that's outside. Energy drinks, all the fast food restaurants have all gotten into it. You're seeing a lot of beverage still here as well. So innovation, and then the thing Chef Curtis and I were talking about are smaller bite-sized desserts. People aren't eating as much, so the desserts are getting smaller, more shareable. People want 2 or 3 things as opposed to just one giant piece of chocolate cake. They're wanting to have more of a tasting at the end of the meal. So we're seeing that as well while we're here.
I love that idea because you're right. And that they brought that up last year and this year. When I say they sort of have a press gathering the first day of the show to sort of say, here's some of the things you're going to be seeing. Here are some of the trends. And with the GLP-1s, people are not eating as much. And so that's changing the size of the plates and the dishes.
100%. Yeah. Chef Curtis talks about that all the time. I know you've done a lot of research, reading about it. So, definitely the portion sizes are decreasing, right? People are doing less with food. Also, with the prices going up, utilizing less proteins. Instead of putting a 12 or 16 ounce ribeye on there, let's do a bowl. Let's do something with soba noodles where we're putting 6 ounces of beef on the plate. We're still getting that value. However, we're getting that craving, but we're also making a little more money for the operator by doing a smaller portion size.
And you mentioned trying to make, a profit, which I think they said like 40% of the independent restaurants last year did not make a profit. Yeah. I think that's what they said. Blew my mind. But, the profit center's moving around too because people are not drinking as much, alcohol-wise, right?
Right, yeah, and we talk about it a lot at SGC, and it's trying to find an alternative for the younger generation mocktails and how to make money from beverage. And then we talk about food costs as well, like Chef said. So if you're selling an 8-ounce burger, let's cut the 8-ounce burger down to a 6-ounce burger, but keep the price of the 8-ounce so your portion size is down and you're able to combat that higher food cost with a lesser size protein option. So.
Which is really what I think people are wanting, and they're happy when they just get a really, really good meal. And maybe if the burger's not as big, they can splurge on a little bit of a salad or fruit or fries or whatever you have to go with it. Are there new flavors besides, you mentioned the peppers and some of the ethnic flavors? Are there things you've seen that you want to toy with in the kitchen?
Definitely some of the spices. Curries are still hot. We had a really good time looking at the Kronos booth yesterday, looking at all the different feta dips. They actually, you mentioned elote, but they're taking the best of both worlds, right? They're taking that feta dip, putting it into a corn-style dip as well. So you're seeing those blendings, those fusions. Those are things that I really enjoy, and they work well because people recognize them, right? They know what elote is now. They know what to expect. So we can put it in a Greek cuisine. We can do it with a little bit of feta or tzatziki and change it up. I think it's popular, right? We're not really reinventing anything. We're just twisting and adding our culinary expertise to it.
And I do think, and I will let you go, I promise, but I do think these consumers now are looking for a lot of protein, added fiber. I am seeing the refreshers, the energy drinks, and then the sort of the drinks that have more like vitamins.
I have one right here in my bag.
Oh, what is it?
This is Alani Nu. It's an energy drink, pink slush, right? So again, it's those flavors, the strawberries, the lights. Those are the things that people are looking for, those grab and go. And when you mentioned earlier about people drinking less, I also read an article about the way that we show up and we socialize, right? We used to go to a coffee shop prior to COVID. Now, if you look, they're all drive-thrus, right? They're going home, they're getting on Zoom, their younger generations are getting on Zoom, Skype, whatever it may be. And that's how they're having their social interaction. They're still drinking those energy drinks and the coffee, but they're not going into necessarily the coffee shop. They're picking them up and they're going home.
Yeah.
And alcohol is decreased. So what can we do? We see that with bars as well. If you look at bars, they're adding mocktails.
Oh, the chefs are still at the bar. Yeah, me too.
We'll still be at the bar. Yeah.
We're not there yet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm still dropping some money at the bar for sure. But and I noticed this can, 5 calories, no added sugar. Those are the kind of things that people are really demanding right now.
We just had a conversation with J&J Snack Foods that we're standing outside their booth, and they know what the future is going to come down. So getting rid of all those artificial colors, I think that's a big part of this show, is following the FDA rules and regulations. So you're seeing the manufacturers make that shift. That has been a big conversation piece here as well.
It's funny you say that because somebody had smoothies. Who knows? I've been here since Saturday. I don't know who it was. But they had a chocolate smoothie, a vanilla and a strawberry. And they said, you want to try the strawberry? And they poured it up and it looked just like the vanilla. And I kind of looked and they go, oh, it's strawberry. We just didn't put the color in it. Or something. It was. You would have not known it was strawberry by looking at it.
That's going to be a big learning curve, I think. Is the consumer understanding that in the natural world, it's not a bright red, it's not strawberry, right? When we blend it, we put it with yogurt, we put it in ice cream, it's much more of a pink. So them learning, they're going to relearn to eat again, I think. Things are going to visually look different. Their favorite product from Nabisco or from Coca-Cola or Pepsi is going to look a little different moving forward without those artificial dyes added to it.
One thing they talked about in the press briefing, micro markets. Little markets inside your airport or your hotel where you can pick up something, grab it, go sit and eat, or take it along with you. And they were talking about how those have just boomed in terms of a lot of times, and people want a nice, fresh, prepared. I think of the farmer's fridge. Have you seen those vending machines?
Yes,
and they talked about how vending is real hot, but there's a fresh made daily salad in the vending machine, and those have been around for a long time. But micro markets,
Absolutely, and you're seeing a smaller footprint in kitchens. That's one thing that I've noticed is when we're looking at kitchens like Canberra, walking by, they have smaller racks that can fit the larger size sheet pans. So they're going maybe a little bit wider, but as kitchens are being built, it's not the big kitchens that we're used to. They're using more in the dining room because that's where the money's coming from. Smaller, more compact kitchens where they can have less staff in there. And I think with the micro markets as well, where I don't want beef jerky anymore. I don't want my favorite Hostess. I want to go up and get the salad. I want to get a green goddess salad out of a machine. I think that all started kind of with sushi, right? And this is just the next evolution of it, where we're seeing those healthier items that we can get straight out of a machine.
Well, there's only so much time in the day, and there's a lot of food to be had. So Chefs Curtis and Aaron from SGC Food Service, go have fun. Bring out the stretchy pants. Here we go.
Yeah. And we walked to the show, so we're trying to be healthy as we get here. So we got almost 3 miles before we even got here today. So trying to do our part to be healthy as well.
I'm trying. I don't know if it's working. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a good day. Thanks.
one thing that stood out to me when I was getting ready to come to NRA Chicago 2026, the Spam dog. Spam dog, I mean, everybody loves Spam. Now they make a Spam dog, and I got to try it just now. And I am with Anne-Marie, and how do you say your last name again?
Vappel.
Vappel. Okay, Anne-Marie Vappel, who is VP of Marketing for Hormel, and she's going to tell me all about the Spam dog. I guess my first question is, what took you so long?
Great question. So getting Spam outside its traditional canned format is actually proving to be a lot more challenging than we initially thought. So the great news is we were able to bring this to the industry in a very, very familiar and approachable format, a dog. And so we couldn't be more excited to have this be our first endeavor of getting Spam outside the can and giving people the opportunity to access just an incredible, iconic product for Hormel.
Well, I love the idea, and it just fits so well. What was the challenge from between the can and then the cooking? Because historically, if you're me anyway, you'll take that can, you'll open it up, you'll slice it, and then you'll throw it and brown it on either side. But it's just not that easy.
It's not that easy. And so realistically, our goal of getting Spam out of the can was really to make it easier for a food service operator who is using Spam in its traditional format in a really large quantity, because right now our solve for that is for them to open individual cans. And so realistically, what we started with, it proved to be easier to solve in a hot dog format to be our first step at getting it out of the can. But I will tell you that we continue to pursue a more food service friendly format for Spam, because we know there are tons of operators out there building musubi at scale or Spam fried rice or using Spam as an ingredient in other great dishes. We want to make it easier for those operators.
It's a great product. I just tried it, and I want to get into a little bit of the history of Spam and how it came about. But now, if I'm not mistaken, you debuted this, or maybe made the announcement right in the beginning of the year in 26. Is that right?
So we did. We knew that we were getting ready to launch the Spam dog, and so we did start to promote it and share with the industry that we were going to bring it at NRA. We did have a great partner that launched it, that soft launched it within their organization. It was wildly successful. So we have been trying to solve for this for quite a while. This isn't a new project. We took several runs at it, and we're now at the point now where, from a science perspective and I guess a materials perspective, that we're able to actually execute against it.
Tell me about the partner that launched it with you. I believe it's a chain of stores that I'm not familiar with. We don't have in the Ozarks, but it was wildly successful. Tell me about that partnership.
It was. So it's a partner called Rutter's Convenience Stores. So they're based in Pennsylvania. They have an incredible concept. I would strongly encourage you to go look at their Instagram account. It's amazing. They do a great job with social. They do beautiful food, very high end. It's a really unique concept. But when they launched the Spam dog, they literally sold out. And so if you go and look at their Instagram history, they're on their feed, you'll see that they actually have a sold out sign across the Spam dog for when they ran the LTO.
So when we see this dog out in the world, which I hope we all do very soon, it will be sort of a roller grill type of a situation cooking it, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Ideally, you would have this on a roller grill, so it's perfect for, I think, stadiums or convenience stores, or even in the college and university environment where they have a roller grill or a roller grill platform. This is the perfect product for that.
Are you getting a lot of attention now? I mean, you really debuted this here at National Restaurant Association show, and you were telling me the day one of the show, everybody wanted the Spam dog, and you absolutely ran out by like midday.
Yeah, we our corporate communications team did a great job leading up to the show, basically signaling to the universe that this was going to happen. And so we had planned. We knew that it would kind of take on a life of its own. My colleague keeps referring to the fact that we put lightning in a bottle. So our plan was to manage to 1,000 samples a day. And on day one of the show, by 1 o'clock, we had to use our very clever sign signaling to the show participants that we were out for the day. Please come back tomorrow and see us, and we'll be able to sample you. So less than 5 hours, 1,000 samples, I would say it's a hit.
I love that you're serving it on the Hawaiian roll. Was that by design.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there is no better match made than in heaven than Spam Dog on a King's Hawaiian hot dog bun. Spam has wild popularity in Hawaii, which we absolutely love. And so it made total sense for us to really lean into that at the show, to feature the new dog on a King's Hawaiian hot dog bun with a pineapple chutney. Just a fantastic application.
That's what I put on my sample, was the pineapple. But you can dress it up however you want. So I saw the ketchup, I saw the mustard. What is your preferred way to dress up the dog?
Yeah, absolutely. Pineapple, anything. I mean, it's just such that sweet and salty pairing together is just, it's fantastic to me. And I love a good hot dog, don't get me wrong, but if I'm going to eat a Spam Dog, it's going to have something a little bit more clever as its topping.
Okay, I just had an idea, Anne-Marie. How about a Spam corn dog? Ever think of that?
I think you absolutely could do that. I think with the hot trend around Korean hot dogs right now, that taking a Spam Dog and deciding to put it into some type of crunchy batter could definitely work.
Give me a little history of Spam. We all know Spam, but it's been around a really long time, right?
It has. In fact, I would strongly encourage you to go out at the Spam sampling station out here before you leave the show, and look at the two servers and the jerseys that they're wearing, and it will give you a really good hint as to when Spam made its debut into the food industry.
Oh, you're going to have me go out and do my own homework. Just tell me the year it started.
1837.
Holy cow, 1837?
Yep. Spam had a huge presence feeding our troops during the war. It's a shelf-stable canned meat, high in protein, and so that really was the birth or the reason for Spam's being. But it is literally our most iconic brand, and we couldn't be more proud than to have the opportunity to make it in a really approachable format and be here at NRA launching it.
And I know the feedback has to be pretty incredible. You know, I'm sitting back here in a room with some folks, and you're sort of answering questions, and I'm not even sure, maybe these folks are press. But it's been interesting to hear the conversation. There's been a lot of buzz.
Yeah, it's what's been really interesting is how many people will make the comment, I don't know, Spam, not really for me. I don't really, and we're really nudging them to try and to engage in this. And when they do, they are 9 times out of 10 people are absolutely shocked. In fact, somebody made a comment to my colleague earlier, where has this been all my life? Which is just fascinating to me.
Well, and I would think it would be fun to market this, because if you're at a store and you have a choice, you would want to point out that this is the Spam Dog if you're a Spam person. So I would imagine marketing this is bound to be fun moving forward.
Yes, I think it'll be a blast. We have such a great... Hormel really views Spam as a global brand, right? And so it's really figuring out how do we continue to optimize this brand. And the fandom, as we would refer to it, is so loyal that to be able to continue to come alongside people who are just loyal Spam consumers and also bring in a new audience and give people a new way to engage with the brand is just, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I am delighted to be here and be among the first to taste this, and I look forward to having it in and around the Ozarks. Anne-Marie from Hormel, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me on Savor the Ozarks.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter, where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? Do you have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.